Chad Moyer with you here on the Rural Radio Network. Time for our weekly weather conversation. Once again, we bring in Paul Trombley from Weatherology. Paul, thanks for joining us here today. And maybe we can talk about this precipitation event from this last week. A little rain, a little snow across the state of Nebraska. As you look at it, what were the impacts? How much moisture did we get out of that system?
Yeah, certainly quite a bit of moisture with the snowfall amounts that were pretty commonly of a foot or more along and north of the I-80 corridor, and some of those spots almost 2 feet as you got towards Broken Bow and a little northwestward. So, yeah, with the moisture content of that snowfall, some spots seeing, maybe up to 2 inches of liquid equivalency in part of the central portions of Nebraska, kind of northeast of North Platte. But, definitely a sizable event that helps the situation drought-wise for Nebraska.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely look forward to that moisture getting into the ground. Now, looking forward here to the last full week in January, are we going to continue to see some activity? What's in our forecast for the next 7 to 10 days?
Yeah, we still have a system that's going to be impacting areas down into Kansas this weekend, and some of that kind of skirting along the southern tier counties of Nebraska here coming up for that Saturday forecast, and could see a couple inches possibly down towards the Kansas border, and then into Kansas, maybe several inches, especially west central Kansas. So that could be of assistance in those really heavily drought-parched areas in western Kansas. But beyond that, there could be another system looming as we get into Monday next week. Different opinions right now with how this low tracks some of the forecast models, keeping a lot of the rain and snow down into Texas and Oklahoma, but some of the projections do keep it all the way north into Nebraska and Kansas with some snow potential early next week. So that's another one to keep a watchful eye on. After that, it could be a little bit more of a break in the action here for us. But definitely been a more active pattern here over the last week or so, and it still looks to stay that way here the next several days.
Okay. Tell me what things look like temperature-wise. We've had a couple of bouts of cold weather, but nothing, very long for any sustained amount of time. What does the polar vortex look like? What's the temperature outlook look like, Paul?
Yeah, with the thing that's going to be, highly impactful is certainly all this heavy snowpack we have across really most of Nebraska. And that kind of mitigates the temperatures from warming a whole lot with all that, incoming sunshine getting reflected back up to space with all that heavy, fresh snowpack. So that is going to keep temps a little bit more seasonal, even below average at times here for Nebraska. No big cold snaps, though, into next week right now. It looks like things could be trending down with some Arctic air seeping south into maybe the Midwest, more Minnesota, Wisconsin. Some of that could be impacting us here by maybe next Friday, Saturday, as we make it a push of some Arctic air, especially eastern Nebraska area. But so far, no big polar vortexes or anything of that sort descending upon the country. But it does get closer into southern Canada, so the Arctic air gets a little closer proximity late next week and next weekend, which could allow for some of that to seep in here as we close out January.
All right, very good. Well, thank you so much for the outlook. I appreciate the information very much. Again, Paul Trombley from Weatherology joins us each week here on the Rural Radio Network. Chad Moyer reporting.